Wall slides, people. What are wall slides? Wall slides is probably the most commonly prescribed exercise by physical therapists for shoulder issues. I certainly use wall slides with a huge percentage of my shoulder patients. And today I want to show you how to do the wall slides. I want to show you two reasons why they are fantastic to do. And I want to show you how you can modify them. So, who are wall slides for? Wall slides are for like tons of diagnoses: shoulder impingements, tendonitis, hypermobility, post surgical strengthening, winging shoulder blades, depressed shoulder blades, or shoulder blades that sit too low. I'm running out of room here. If you're just starting shoulder blade training or shoulder training and you want kind of like a nice warm up, that would be a great thing for you to do as well. And I'm probably not even listing all of them. So it's a very all encompassing shoulder exercise. If you don't know where to start with your routine, this is the place to start. So without further ado, wall slides. I'm Dan the Angry Physio. Let's talk about it. So first order of business, what is a shoulder wall slide? All you need is a wall. So grab yourself a wall, and here's a little demonstration. Let's take a look. So I'm going to take the pinky sides in my hands and I'm putting them on the wall. And ready for the simplicity here? All that I'm doing is I'm applying a little bit of pressure through my hands and I'm sliding my hands up and down the wall. Now, you can probably see here that my shoulder blades are upwardly rotating as I do that. And you can kind of vary your position here too. If you want to bring your hands out a little bit more to the side, if that's less pinchy, or if you're more comfortable with that, that's totally fine. But basically, the pinky side of the wall, of the hands touch the wall, and you slide up and you slide down. It is literally that simple. And here are my two main reasons why I love to do this exercise. We're going to use a little dry eraser board here. And what I'm drawing in here, just humor me, I'm drawing in the spine right here. And let's say that's your head. And I'm also going to draw in a shoulder blade. Kind of, looks like a triangle mostly. We'll call that the left shoulder blade. Now, when you are sliding your hands up and down the wall, you are helping to utilize three specific muscles. The first muscle that I'm drawing in here with these little lines, that is referred to as the lower trapezium. And what I'm drawing in secondly here is the upper trapezium. And I'm also going to draw in, although you have to kind of think 3D here, on the front side of the shoulder blade, there's another muscle called the serratus anterior. All three of those muscles really work quite a bit to take your shoulder blade and to rotate your shoulder blade upwards, which buys you clearance. It allows your shoulder and your humerus and your rotator cuff tendons to have plenty of room. And those three muscles, when they work together, they, like I said, they rotate your shoulder blade up, kind of in the arrow that I drew here. Okay, guys, so the second great thing that the wall slide helps or facilitates is recruitment of your rotator cuff muscles. So these are not the ones that we just went over a second ago, the ones that upwardly rotate your shoulder blade. These are the rotator cuff muscles themselves. And the rotator cuff muscles, when they're being recruited, they have a nice ability to kind of stabilize the head of the humerus and keep it in place. So here I'm drawing in one of the rotator cuff muscles. I believe this is the supraspinatus muscle. And that's what those lines are for. And underneath here, these are a couple of the other rotator cuff muscles. And as you can see, they all kind of attach onto the head of the humerus. And if they're all working, they're taking that head of the humerus and they're stabilizing it in place so that it doesn't wander too superiorly in the joint. And that gives a nice kind of compressive stabilization force, which is what we want. So once again, here's our basic wall slide. We got the pinky borders of the hands touching the wall, and I slide up. And you can see that kind of helps with that upward rotation, helps with the stabilization of the head of the humerus. Well, what if you do those and these get super easy? Well, you can always you can modify these and make these a little bit more difficult to do. So let's take a look at how you can kind of bump the routine up with this once you feel comfortable and you can do a couple sets of, let's say, 10 to 15 wall slides without any pain in the shoulders. So here's our level up. So same idea. We're going to slide our hands up, and once you get to the top, think about pinching your shoulder blades down and together. Just pop your hands off the wall a little bit. This is not a big pop off, people. If you look here, my hands are maybe coming an inch or two away from the wall, not terribly far. And the whole idea here is we are recruiting specifically one of the upward rotators of the shoulder blade, mostly the lower trapezium. So that is one way to up your game. And here's a modification of a wall slide. So let's say, for example, that your shoulder blades are depressed, meaning like you have slopey shoulders, your collarbones are kind of horizontal, they don't have a nice little pitch to them. If you don't know if your shoulder blades are depressed or not, I would go and ask a physical therapist and they can tell you within about 5 seconds. So if the shoulder blades are a little bit depressed and you want to work that upper trapezium a little bit more, here's how you do it. So the modification is, instead of just your pinkies touching the wall, your forearms, elbows, and hands touch the wall. And watch what I do here. I just shrug up. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to engage my upper trapezium and hold that end spot for about 3 seconds. And it is an end range hold, and you are conditioning your upper trapezium. It's a very nice starter exercise for your upper traps. Once again, easy to do, just a slight modification of the position. Well, I'm going to gross you out right now. So check this out. A winging shoulder blade is that, meaning your shoulder blades pop out of away from your rib cage very easily. If you're a shoulder blade winger, instead of sliding up the wall, just put your hands on the wall, push away from the wall, and like you're doing a round out. I am pushing my shoulder blades into my rib cage, and I'm trying to push my hands through that wall, and I'm holding that spot for a couple seconds. It's a great exercise to do if you have winging shoulder blades. And once again, all that you need is a wall. So just from using a wall, you can get your rotator cuff, you can get your serratus anterior, you can get your upper trapezium, you can get your lower trapezium. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with just a wall. So this can be used for a lot of diagnoses that I just said. It can also be used as a warm-up if you're an overhead athlete, or if your weight routine involves you doing, military style presses or overhead presses. It's a nice warm-up, and it just kind of gets those shoulder blades and gets them to rotate upwards. Fantastic idea. If you have any comments about a modification of any of this, or if you try them and have some feedback, drop me a line. Thanks again, as always. It really helps to subscribe, rate, and review. Hit that little bell so you'll get a notification when I put out a new YouTube episode. Thanks. This is Dan, the Angry Physio. Have a good one.